Namaste. I'm Love Sharma from the Hindu Hub organization in Singapore. Today we have a well-known teacher who is expert in Vedas, Vedangas and Darshanas and Mahamaha Upadhyay and Shastra Bhaskara, Acharya Korada Subramanyam. Today we will be conducting one interview with him on Arya Malecha theory. So Acharya, my first question is, what does the word Arya means? Namaste.
ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Yes, Sharma, the question you have asked is related to Aryavarta. That is actually a part and parcel of Bharatavarsha, and the reference is there in Mahabhashyam of Patanjali. I will give you the actual situation there. See, Panini authored Ashtadhyayi, the so-called Vyakaranam, for both Vedic Shabdas and Lokik Shabdas. There in 6th Adhyaya, 3rd Pada, 109th Sutra, he read is Pushodaradini Yathopadishtam. That means certain Shabdas like Pushodara, Jimota, etc. are not analyzed by me in Ashtadhyayi, and you have to take them if they are employed by people, some people. There, Patanjali enters the scene and says, Upadishta means Upadesha, that is preaching, done by whom? By whom means by Shishtas. Then he says, who are Shishtas? Then Patanjali discusses in Mahabhashyam all these issues. Who are Shishtas? Okay, then he says, the people who are living in Aryavarta and who follow certain ascetic rules and regulations in their life. Then he explains what is it. Then the Aryavarta is a place in the north, surrounded by north, it is Himalayas, south Vindhyas, and east by Kalakavanam or Prayaga, and then west by Kurukshetra. The place within these four boundaries is called Aryavarta. So now we have to take the extended Aryavarta, because long ago, before Krishna 150 or so, Patanjali was demarcating the lines and boundaries, but later all of us have come down to south. That is the question. Then that is one thing. That is Aryavarta. Those Brahm people who are living in Aryavarta are generally called Aryas, and he also gives Acharaha. Achara means their behavior or Satsampradaya. What is it? What kind of it? So the Brahmanas living in Aryavarta are following certain ascetic rules, very difficult rules. What are they? Kumbhidhanyaha. Those people hoard the cereals or rice, wheat, etc., etc. That is required for only 2 to 3 days, not more than that. Again, they have to get the cereals for running the family, etc. Then Alolupaha. Alolupaha means who do not have any kind of lust for money or lust for wealth, etc., etc. Alolupatvam is not there. That kind of people. Kumbhidhanyaha, one qualification. Next one is Alolupaha. Then he says Agrihyamana Karanaha. That means why they are following such sadachara, there is no any reason. By nature, by Swabhava itself, they have been following such kind of sadachara, and it is not meant to attract any people or anything the like. Okay, so Agrihyamana Karanaha, then Kinchidantarena Kasyaschid Vidyayaha Parangataha Tatra Bhavantaha Shishtaha. So Kasyaschid Vidyayaha Parangataha. The commentator says they have studied all the Vidyas, Vedas, Vedangas, Darshanas, etc. And all the Vidyasthanas they have studied, and they are called Shishtas. So these Shishtas, the Brahmanas who are there in Aryavarta, have been following this ascetic life. Their lifestyle is very, very difficult for others to follow, and the Shabdas that are employed by those Shishtas okay, are authority, and they have to be taken, they can be taken on a par with the Shabdas that are actually analyzed by Panini in Ashtadhyayi. And here one more thing is, you have asked about the Shabda Arya. It is its derivation is Rgatau. Arhala or Nyat Pratyaya by Panini Sutram. So Arya means Puja or a respectable person. So, and they strictly follow Satyam, Ahimsa, and all those things. I need not explain. So, this is Aryavarta, and they are Aryas. The Aryas, the reference you have also in Mimamsa, Poro Mimamsa, in Aryamlechadhikaranam. Also, the Aryavarta is described in Amarkosha, Aryavarta Punyabhumi, Madhyam Ginjahimagayo. It is referred to in Manusmriti and some other Smritis also. So, Aryavarta is very, very popular, famous for Sadachara and strictly following the Vedika Sampradaya.
Dhanyawada Acharya. It was very detailed. So my another question is, who is Malecha as per Shastras and how is it defined?
So, the Mlecha Avyakte Shabde is the Dhatu. Avyaktayam Vachi is also there. This Avyakte Shabde is in Vadikana, provided by Patna Panini, and Avyaktayam Vachi is in Churadikana. So, the one who speaks unclearly, where are you going? What do you mean? Etc. Like this, who speaks unclearly is actually called Mlecha. But during the course of time, the term Mlecha is applied to people from Western countries and west of India. It may be Iran, it may be Iraq, it may be America, it may be Europe, etc. Why those people were Greek, etc. Those people entered India and were speaking unclearly their languages. So they are called generally Mlechas. Another explanation is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. We have 4 Purusharthas clearly defined. And those people who do not, in India, Indian subcontinent or Bharatavarsha, all people follow, or supposed to follow rather, all these 4 Purusharthas, the purpose of life. Purushartha means the purpose of life. So, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Those people who are from West and others, they have been following only Artha and Kama. They are called by the name Bhogas by Panini. So, generally, we refer to them by the word Mlecha. And those people who did not learn Sanskrit or do not know Sanskrit or cannot speak, those people are also generally called Mlechas. That is the general action. So, Aryam Mlechadhikaranam in Purvamimamsa is there. The words of Mlechas are meaningful. Okay, they also can be taken in day-to-day transactions, but Aryas are actually put against Mlechas because these people Aryas follow the Purusharthas, Vaidika Sampradaya and all that, Papa, Punya, etc. And Mlechas generally do not give much importance to Punya, Papa, etc. And they lead their life with Artha and Kama. That is the actual situation.
Dhanyawada. Good to know about the Malecha by definition. I have another last third question, which is like this is very famous question where everybody is having some kind of dilemma or confusion on it. That what is Aryan invention theory and how is it like because there is some theories already going around which may not be suitable by like which is not evidence based, but people believe on that. According to you and the Shastras, what is Aryan invention theory?
See, the entry in Oxford dictionary, that is Aryan as a Sanskrit word, is wrong.
No.
Because in Sanskritam you have Ru Dhatu, as I have already explained, in Nyata Pratyaya, Adivriddhi Arya, it will come when Vriddhi goes on by Rharo Nyata. So, a Aryan Shabda is not Sanskrit at all. It is only Aryaha, Aryu, Aryaha like that. But some people, especially from Germany, they added the N to Nakara to this word and made it Aryan. To be frank, actually the Nazis from Germany borrowed 2 things from Mahabhashyam. One is Swastika. Actually, Swastika is the name of an ornament mentioned by Patanjali in Mahabhashyam, Paspashandikam, first chapter itself. And this Arya is from 6th Adhyaya, 3rd Pada, as I have already said, under Prushodaradini Yathopadishtam, while discussing. But those people, what they did, they said Aryan. Aryans are to rule, but not to be ruled, etc. are their thesis. So, this is one thing, one side of the coin. The other side is that there is gulf of difference between Aryas and Aryans. If you take Aryas, they strictly follow this Satyam, Ahimsa, Paropakara Tatparta, Bhotadaya, all the gunas, Ashta Atma Gunaha, and other niyamas. Okay, they do not commit a sin at all. But strictly, they follow the rules that are prescribed, ordained in Vedas, Smritis, that is Dharma Shastras, and other darshanas. They strictly follow those things. They never commit a single sin, papa. They are not supposed to do. If at all they commit some sin, they will perform prayaschitta to get rid of that sin. That is their lifestyle and that is their standard. And they should not hurt manasa, vacha, karmana. Okay, Takarna Shuddhi it is called. Manasa, vacha, karmana, they do not hurt anybody. That kind of lifestyle has to be maintained by all of them. These are the general, just briefly, okay, characteristic of Aryas. Whereas the people who say Aryans prefer himsa paramo dharma. For Aryas, ahimsa paramo dharma. For Aryans, himsa paramo dharma. They want to invade other countries. They want to just take away whatever wealth is there in other countries. They want to amass wealth and all such kind. They do not care for papa. They do not have bhotadaya. And they never are bothered about Satyam, Ahimsa, Bhodadaya, Paropakara. It's all whatever Daiva gunas are there, that they do not follow. Whatever Asuri gunas are there, killing others or looting others and hurting others, anything they like, all these are the Lakshanas of Aryans. So there is actually polar difference between Aryas and Aryans. Some people from the West actually, in order to create a kind of inferiority complex in the minds of Indians, and also, okay, to take away the pride or whatever it is, glory, etc., they have created this Aryan invasion theory in later 30s. And so they will say, they do not refer to Mahabhashyam or Gauravimasa or Amarkosha or Manusmriti. All no any book that mentions about that there are records about Aryas, Aryavarta, Shishtas and their characteristics and their sadachara, the good behavior, ascetic life, that they never refer. They do not speak a single word about them. But what they say, no, Aryas are from outside. They entered India, this thing, that thing. So, since the scholars did not know Sanskrit during those days, during the rule of British, okay, those people have taught right from elementary school down to university that you are not what you are. You have come from outside, etc. Or such kind of vicious, okay, material is injected into the minds of Indians, okay, whose minds are actually pure and very holy. So, like that, this Aryan invasion theory has come, and in my book, Theories of Language, Oriental and Occidental, I have quoted both Mahabhashyam and Mein Kampf of Hitler and refuted this theory. And so, after 150 years, strictly speaking, this Aryan invasion theory or AIT is buried forever. Nobody should trust that theory anymore. And if they have any doubts, they may study the texts I have quoted, Mahabhashyam, Gauravimamsa, first chapter, or Amarkosha, Manusmriti, and other Smritis also. Everywhere you find reference to Aryavarta, and this is Punyabhumi, it is also called Punyabhumi. Punyam cannot be translated in English, but opposite to sin, Papa. So this is all about AIT. So Aryan Shabda itself is not there, much less invasion. Because when Aryas are following Satyam, Ahimsa, etc., when they don't want to amass wealth, etc., why should they invade anybody else? Why should they hurt even? Much less, they do not hurt a fly. How can you say they are going to invade countries themselves? This is totally false, totally misleading. So therefore, one has to put a full stop to all such kind of theories, and you have to see that the minds of Indians are once for all purified.
Dhanyavad. It was very good and very straight and well clear to understand that what exactly the difference between the Arya and Aryans. So that actually created many confusion in the youth also, and it actually hard to defend ourselves that is this theory belongs to us or not. But with this clarity, we can be very sure that we were still following the ascetic life, what was written in the Vedas and everywhere, and we were doing it for long time. It's not the in between theories actually misleading us.
ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति शांति शांति।
धन्यवाद आचार्य।